everyone, my name is Keera Clarke. I'm a Redshirt Sophomore Division I student-athlete volleyball player at Coastal Carolina University. I transferred this past January from Southern Illinois University, where I underwent a very tough and grueling grooming process and a season-ending PCL injury my freshman year, that took 10 months of PT on top of the first 2 months of just trying to get in front of a specialist to come back from. So although that experience was as hard as it was, it did teach me that my identity is found in nothing other than him, and it was worth the temporary pain. And even now I still have to keep up with maintenance, and it's not exactly quite the same as it was before the injury occurred, unfortunately, but I thank God that I'm not where I used to be with that. And during my time at SIU, I went through a lot of hardship, learned a lot of lessons, grew a lot, built a lot of character, and got a lot closer to God, which made it all absolutely worth it. And when I returned to the court in my sophomore year, I fought hard to earn the starting Libero position, which I managed to do, and got plenty of stats. That way I could make opportunities for myself to find a new home and to try another place. So by the end of my sophomore season, I had put myself out there once again, making the calls in between prepping for finals, and Coastal Carolina had found me and right away, and I had an amazing visit, and in this past January they welcomed me in with open arms, and it was a very smooth transferring process. And from the staff to the players to the shuttle drivers, my advisors, everybody was so welcoming, and I had an amazing spring season, and it's been great ever since. Now, 8 weeks ago, I had another unexpected injury occur, which I'll get to in a moment, but of course it had to be right before preseason started, and I've decided that I wanted to document this second recovery / comeback process, which I didn't necessarily do with the first injury, though I wish I did, but I feel like this is really going to help somebody out there. I believe in my heart that this is at least for one person, if not a bunch of people, and it'll show somebody that you can come back not only once but twice from a hardship. And it's honestly what's keeping me going through this entire process, is knowing that this will help somebody out there. I really do believe that in my heart. So if I can help somebody in any way through this, then it's 100% worth it. And God brought me through the first one, and I have no doubt that he's going to bring me through this one as well. And he's already shown up in so many ways that it gives me comfort knowing that this isn't the end, this isn't it. So thus far I have been working out, keeping up with my health, with my eating as much as I can, working out in the boot. I've been going to the HTC center, hobbling along, schlepping with my boot. Even from the first day of school, going to the HTC and getting in upper body workouts when I can, and even when we had to evacuate for about a week for the hurricane, for Dorian, when we were in Greensboro, North Carolina, and I got to do some midnight workouts there, and that was fun. That was something new. Never worked out that late / that early, depending on how you look at it. But it was great, and I've been basically doing everything I can to still stay competitive and still have an edge. Again, keep in shape, keep the conditioning up on the bike. So it's been good thus far, and this will be the first video of the journey, just because I hadn't thought of documenting it sooner, but also I didn't think it was going to go on for more than like 2 weeks. So that's why we're starting at week 8. But I did come here to grind. I came to Coastal to help this program make history, and once I return, I'll be able to do that, and my recovery process will all be documented here. The good, the bad, and the ugly. So, without further ado, here is the first episode. Good morning, everybody. It is the morning. It is 7:24 a.m. and it is September 20th. Thought I would do a video this time, like a video I guess summary of like my progress and different steps. I've missed a lot because this is actually week 8 of the injury, but some news I found out a couple days ago, it sounds like it's gonna have plenty of time for more videos, so I'll just explain my story. So on July 25th I had sprained my MTP joint in my leg, or in my toe, in my big toe, and I was conditioning one morning like normal. It's not certain whether or not it was that morning the conditioning set it off or like the way I was running in the conditioning leading up to that. And then when I stepped out of the shower later on that day, a crackle, pop, like all this just really weird, very unnatural, very something's wrong sensations were in my left toe. And it was just stepping out of the shower. I kept telling people, I was like, yes, I took a great shower and jumped out, but it was the freakiest thing. So I was like, something happened. Like, it was definitely something that built up in conditioning. Again, whether it was that day or leading up to that, undetermined. But it happens the way I must have ran, or something must have been building it up, and then it finally sprained. So that was what we knew from then on. So we did PT, had a wonderful trainer who has been trying everything under the sun to get this thing healed. So we're all in the same boat of frustration for a long time, and preseason was right around the corner in like less than 2 weeks, and it was like, we're gonna get you ready in a week, you'll be back to doing like normal summer practices, and then leading into preseason. And then that turned into, okay, by preseason you'll be started. Did the first day of preseason, it was terrible. Very painful with certain movements. I couldn't do a lot of like fast movements. That was when I knew like this is just like really bad. So we like tried a couple of like taping jobs, and then I think if not like the next day, like 2 days later, we stuck me in a boot. So that was August 10th. I'm wearing it right now. So 6 weeks in the boot. Now, once that happened, I mean, it was still kind of like we had no time frame for it, but it was just as soon as possible. We did not know anything. That probably was turf toe. That was the belief. I saw a doctor, got some prescription. Prescription gave me a whole lot of symptoms, but no actual healing. And saw him again a couple of weeks later. So that was probably like by week 5 or 6. We took an x-ray right then and there. It didn't show anything as he suspected. He believes it's turf toe, which the MRI would show, which I did actually have like the day after or something like that. It was great that it was a fast appointment. Another thing about me, not a huge fan of small spaces. Getting better at that, thank you God. But yeah, so the MRI, I didn't have to go in too far, so that was okay. But yeah, had to get it done. So we did the MRI. They confirmed that I had the turf toe and that I had a bone bruise at the bottom of my toe. Mild or minor ligament sprain, and I was like, what? Because this pain felt nothing minor at all. I have a very high pain tolerance, but this is like something that I've never felt before. And when I had my PCL injury, like, it was really bad, but they were both kind of neck and neck, just in different spots of my left leg. So that was that, and I pretty much was in shock. It was a little frustrating, hard to hear, because basically what they were saying was that I sprained it. It was pulled, possible slight tear, but that was it. And I was like, so what is all this pain coming from? Because there is something wrong with this foot. And fast forward, kept doing more of the PT stuff here, tape jobs. We tried so many tape jobs. I mean, Maddie was a trooper. She was helping me out, my trainer, and she was great. Yeah, so we're getting real close now. We've been close, but just got a whole lot closer from a couple of days ago, which I'll get to in a second. But yeah, tried different tape jobs for another few weeks, and then went back in the boot because it was just like the pain when I walk. It was like still a level 9. It would still crack here and there. Like, this thing wasn't healing, even though I was in the boot all day from the first day of school. So that's how that happened. And then a couple days ago, finally got my appointment with a specialist, and he did some poking and prodding. He said that I was jumping around so much and reacting to what he was doing, like when he would move my toe around just like the slightest or poke it in different spots. He said I was jumping way too much for this to be a minor thing. He said that it felt very loose, and he's had a lot of turf toe patients, which gives me a lot of confidence in his opinion. And he was convinced that one of my plates / ligaments is not fully, partially detached from my toe bone, and that would explain a lot of the pain, and that would explain why it hasn't been healing, because when it's detached, there's no way for it to heal, which is why I soon found out that he has to go in there and surgically reattach it. It was very funny, very bizarre, because I think my mind just didn't want to believe it, or just didn't think, and it was like, no way do we need surgery for this, because it was just the last thing on our minds. But as he was explaining it, he was like talking about like going in there, like drilling holes into the bone and all this stuff, and I'm like sitting there and I'm getting it, like I'm there with him, and I'm like thinking, he's saying drilling all this stuff. I'm like, how is he supposed to do all this without it being surgery? And then it hit me, and I was like literally like stopped him, and I was like, wait, you mean surgery? And he was like, yes. And I looked at my trainer, and she looked at me as I was like trying not to burst out in tears. I was tearing up, and she was like, you're gonna be fine, like it's gonna be okay. Because I already had plenty of moments, to say the least, along the way with frustration and being lost and feeling confused and all that stuff. But I've had an amazing support system here from coaches, teammates, trainers. Like it's been very it's been a lot easier than the last injury, so that's really great in that sense. But yeah, so as he was saying that, I was like, oh, okay. And then I was like, so what's the other option? And he said we could wait a month, but based on the fact that this isn't really healing now, he thinks it's just going to delay the process by a month. So what's happening is I'm going to be on Monday. Thank God, because it was either, we didn't know how soon I'd be able to get the surgery. So I'm really grateful that that is one thing that is not being delayed, is surgery time. Just want to get the thing done. So on Monday, he's going to go in there. He's going to drill some holes into my toe bone, reattach it, stitches, all that stuff. And then I'll be in crutches for 2 weeks with a cast, and that'll be interesting. Never been on crutches before, but my arms are going to look great, so there's a plus. A few weeks after that, we're going to go from cast with the boot. Don't know how that's going to work, but I trust them. And then after that, be in the boot. So that whole process alone will be about 8 weeks. And then after that, I start PT. That with the boot, I'm not certain, or if I'm going to be able to walk around, but that would be great. As far as what happens after the first 8 weeks, I'm not quite sure as far as what I'm going to be wearing on my feet. But I'll be able to start PT, and then PT will be about 3-ish months. So, of course, naturally, we'll be out for the season. Very hard pill to swallow, because that was obviously the last thing I wanted. The last thing I wanted was to miss a day of preseason, and now I'm missing pretty much everything. But you know, I'm still so grateful to be here and still be able to support and do my best from what I can on the side. And I was like, you know, if it's me throwing my crutches in the air, or if it's me, you know, kicking with the other foot in the air, because that's what I do to celebrate a lot, like, still gonna be cheering the crap out of everything, and it's still gonna be really good. It's gonna be a good experience. It'll let me see things from the outside, and then when I finally get to come back in February, March, or April, I'll be able to use what I saw from the outside and have an amazing comeback, round 2, because lightning has struck twice. So that is to kind of bring y'all up to speed. That's what's happening, and I'm currently like in the hallway of where our locker rooms are at HCC. Figured I'm gonna be making a lot of videos, so I'll change up the scenery while I can. But yeah, I'm about to get one of my last workouts in while I can with the boot, and yeah, stay tuned. We will see you, I guess, probably surgery day, or maybe the day before, when, thank God, my mom comes. So excited. But yeah, it's gonna be good. God's great. He's taking care of me. He's giving me a lot of peace with it now. It still feels hard to accept and to just be like, all right, this is it. But I trust him. I trust his path for me. I trust what he has in store for me. So I'm gonna hold on to his truth and know that he is my strength, and know that he's not gonna let me down. The pain is not it's not the destination. The pain's just, if I allow it to be, it's just a distraction from what's beyond that and what's ahead. And I really do fully believe that. And I'm just excited to see what he has ahead for me. This isn't saying that I haven't had moments where I was frustrated, or when I hadn't had moments where I broke down, or was just like, oh, this is frustrating. The main thing I have to focus on is not comparing to past injuries, or not, you know, doing any sort of why me thoughts. That's not going to help. The objective is to stay positive and to praise God through it, because he is great, and this is not the end of anything. And even if it were, he's still on his throne, and he's still in my life, so I'm not worried about a thing in that sense. So yeah, we will keep you posted along the way. Let's do this journey together.